Hello and welcome to the 9 a.m. turn 2 of Compass Games' Tinian, The Forgotten Battle by Ross Mortell. So hopefully you saw the first turn, the initial landings. One thing I need to correct, there's two things I needed to correct. The first was that I need to remove these bombardment markers now. So that's all complete, and give the Japanese a bit more scope to do things. And the second was that I assigned the heavy machine gun support weapon to this unit here, which I couldn't do because if I find out where it is, I think I've moved it up to here. As you can see, it's got a black band, which means it's part of the 56th Naval Guard Force, whereas this infantry unit has a white band, which means it's actually just part of the whole naval division, not of the Guard Force. So therefore it won't be able to be assigned that support weapon at all. So I've moved it up here instead, and yeah, we've got rid of those bombardment counters. So right, so let's start the turn anyway. And the first thing we need to do is to spend our dispatch points. Now looking, I've actually slightly moved everything about here so that the command chart is nearer the part of the map that actually is being used, so I can switch a lot easier between them. Glare out the way if we can. That's a bit better. Okay, and so dispatch points. The Imperial Navy starts with a 0, the Army with 1, and then the 4th Marine Division actually starts with 5. So that's the starting numbers. So we spend dispatch points before we get them in a turn, and so therefore the Imperial Navy can't actually spend any at all. So the dispatch points are used to put chits, buy chits to go into the cup. It's 2 points for a division, 1 for a smaller formation. So they can't actually buy either of their relevant chits, which is the Imperial Navy activation chit and the 56th Naval Guard Force chit. Neither of those can be bought because they want 0 points. And likewise, the army, the Japanese army, they have 1 point, so they can't buy their divisional activation. That needs 2. They can only buy a small one of the formations. Now, to be honest, on the map at the moment, there's 2 artillery units and an HQ. So there isn't very much there to actually use, but they are all divisional units. They are white stripes, so you do need the division activation. However, there is some consolation here in that there is a reinforcement coming in this turn for the Japanese. Here it is. It's off the 50th division, I suppose. So there is actually, it's not the 50th division. The formation is the 1st of the 1st Brigade of the 50th division. As you can see on there, the designation is 3/1/50, and it's a red band. So there is actually an activation marker for it. Now, the decision is, that's the activation marker there for it. If you can see it, we're going to get a decent focus. No, it doesn't like me this evening. So the question is, do we spend a dispatch point for that counter? So there's two things here. One is that, well, we got the point, might as well spend it, and the guy gets to move. That's true. However, when we are gaining dispatch points, we either gain 1 a turn or 3 a turn, but we roll against our command rating. And the command rating for the army here is, dispatch rating is a 2. So it's a 0, 1 or 2 to get 3 points, and anything else you roll, you get 1 point. So the 1 point is actually quite precious. However, what we really want to do is we'd like to get that unit, because it's not restricted in movement like the Navy forces are, to get into that zone on the board, which the Americans need to keep the Japanese out of, as in this area here. And it does come in here, so there is a possibility that it could sneak in, and it's a decent enough unit. It's as tough, or if not more tough than a marine company. So I think it's probably worth it to pay that dispatch point just to get that in. However, I'm just thinking we could use direct commands to do that, because you don't need a separate activation, and you don't need to be in command, even though he kind of would be actually, from his main division HQ, the Army HQ. Yeah, so maybe not. Maybe we don't buy, and we'll keep that dispatch point for later turns when we'll have a lot more troops. There is quite a lot of army troops coming in. No more Navy, but there's quite a lot of army troops coming. So the Navy can't spend any. I think we won't spend any with the Army. So we're down to the 4th Marine Division. So we have 5 points, and we've also got a dispatch rating, I believe. If we look here, we have a dispatch rating. Actually, it's 4. It's 2 printed on here, but it's 4 in the scenario. I've gone with what the scenario says. I think this is probably a misprint. So it's got a rate. It's a 4. So 0 to 4 rolling, which is pretty 50-50. You'll get 3 or 1 point. So the points will come a lot easier to the American formations. I think at this point we will just buy the divisional activation chit for the 2 points. We have the other formation chits, which if we were really inclined we could pay 2 for to jump in the turn if we wanted to anyway. But I don't think it will do that, and we'll just have the Marine Division activation going in there. So we build the cup with those. We now, of course, include the Navy support and air support markers. We don't put any Japanese markers in other than their direct commands. And we'll that's all the chits that are bought. Now we get more dispatch points. So this is the dice rolls that we need. And for the Navy, we need, because they have a dispatch rating of 1, they need a 0 or 1 to get 3 dispatch points. And so here we go with the roll, and they got a 0. So they got 3 dispatch points. That's pretty lucky. So the Imperial Army has a 0 to 2 chance. Oops. So we'll roll for them. We get a 9, which means they just get 1. So their dispatch points go from 1 to 2. So the naval guard for the Navy has 3 now, and then we have the that shouldn't be there. Then we have the Marines to roll. So they're from a 0 to 4. And they get a 9, so they only get 1. Okay. Right. Well, that's the dispatch points gained for the turn. And we're not marking fatigue out for the moment, but I will kind of, if we end up having to use it, because I'm extending the scenario, then I can go back through and add what we need. I believe it's worth probably marking it. Actually, I think we'll have 1 fatigue point for the Marine Division chit. And the last thing we do is we place reinforcements. So I did mention that we have, I'll move across here, we do have a unit coming in here for the Japanese. We'll put him on the column side for the moment, I think. And we also have some more Marines, of course, which are in the transport zone. Moving that back in, sorry about the wobble. And so another 2 companies and a mortar section, and 2 more companies and a mortar section of the other regimental combat team. At that point, we're kind of ready to go with the action phase. That's all done. So we're into picking chits. Now at this point, the Naval Guard Force, the Americans as the initiative player, can spend 2 dispatch points to pick out a formation. They won't. The Japanese could. I'm not sure they're. I mean, we're a bit flush with the Navy now with 3 points, but I don't really want to spend 2 of them just on an activation. I don't think that's very efficient, and we've got a bit lucky this turn, but that might not last. So we're on to just picking a chit out of the cup. And here we have the cup with all our chits in. And so all the standard ones plus the 4th Marine Division. And this is a good start. The one we picked out was amphibious movement. There we go. Which is pretty damn convenient for the Americans. Now, we don't have the bombardment markers here now, so however, we have the 2 anti-tank guns here are both suppressed, so they cannot fire. This one, however, can. I don't think there's anything special wrong with it. No, it's a 4. It has a -1 for the disorganisation, but it has a +1 because of the hero. So it can certainly fire. It has a range of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. To get to this box, if we're firing at these units, then it would be just the 6. If we want to fire up here, we need to go 1 extra over the beach. So we can certainly get to this box here. And this is the best box to fire at because it's got a defense value of 0 rather than -2. I know what it says on the box, but that's actually wrong. Right. So the first thing we do on amphibious movement is we land the units here on the final run-in. And as we've got the 1 gun, I think we're going to wait for the roof zone here. So these guys do land, and we will land them deployed. With the leader, and the leader is important because now we can do multiple activations, second activations of units during a formation activation. They'll be in command, and we'll move these guys as well. There's absolutely nothing that has touched that artillery unit there, but it is a indirect unit, so an indirect fire unit, so it doesn't get to opportunity fire. Now we will move these guys in. I think we will attempt to fire our anti-tank gun here at the unit here. So the modifiers are, well, it's a 4 rated unit, firing high explosive, +1 for the hero, -1 for the disorganization level, so it's a 4. And then the defense value is 0, because remember it's firing at the transports that are holding the troops in, and they are armoured, and they are what's known as a hard target. So they get the different combat results table over here, and we use the blue because we can be arm piercing about it. So we're on a 4, and it's just a straight 4. So an E, and this is a worry, an E is an eliminate. So that would include all those troops. So there's a small chance of it going badly wrong here, but we're on the 4, and let's see what happens. We get an 8. So an 8 is a miss when it's a 4, because anything below that is a hit, anything above is a miss. So yeah, I'm afraid that hit went astray, and the units got through. We also take a no opportunity fire marker here, and we place that on the unit. So you can only fire once an opportunity fire until it is activated. Right, and finally, as the amphibious movement, we will then move our reinforcements down to the approach zone from the transport zone. Okay, that's our first chit done. Don't think there's anything else we need to do there, so we'll pull some more chits. So we have, this is the Navy support. Okay, so we have our 2 task forces, which are pretty mean guys. 7 factors, so they have a 7 factor indirect fire. They have unlimited range. That's the infinity symbol. But if you're using aerial spotting, they only have a 3. So the important thing here is to not use aerial observation if you can possibly manage it. So I think what we'll do is we will put 1 on there, and then we will put the second on here, because we have LOS from here now. Through that cane, one hex of cane we can see through. So we'll do those 2 fires. We'll do this guy up at the top first. He's a 7, and it is 6 for the sugar cane. Then 3 down to 3 for the pillbox, and then +1 for the artillery unit. So we are on a 4. So let's roll that, and we get a 4. Or best result. Rolling quite well here on some of the combat rolls as the Americans here. So indirect on a 4. Where are we here? We are here. 2 DG and R. Now I suspect that the DG level here is terrible. It's actually level 4. So that means that the unit is eliminated, because for each level above 4, you remove a unit, you eliminate a unit from the hex. So that anti-tank gun is dead. So that's pretty good shooting there. We remove all the disorganized status markers. We still have the leader in the hex, but the leader will move to another unit automatically. He just kind of teleports. So I think I will possibly put him here. Yeah. Okay, that's one of the fires, and the other one, of course, is in our hex here. So that's a 7 again. -1 for the sugarcane, -3 for the bunker, and then +1 for the artillery unit. So we're on 4 again. So let's roll that. We roll a 2, which is a hit. It's all going rather well. And a 2 on indirect fire is a DG/R. So 1 disorganized marker and then a route result, a route check. So 1 DG. Let's bring that in here. And then disorganized level. One thing I mustn't forget, of course, with the task force firing indirect fire of an original 7 means that that's a heavy barrage. This will also be a heavy barrage, but we put that on after we resolve everything. So we have a route check here. So the troop quality, of course, is 3 for the Navy. 3, and it is 4/5 for the pillbox, 6 for the cane. So we're on 6 and we roll to see what happens with the route. It's a 3, so it passes, so it's quite happy. However, it does now have heavy barrage marker on it. Okay, and that's the Navy done for the turn. Let's go to our next chit. This is a lovely sequence, isn't it? 4th Marine Division, so that's a great sequence. We have the amphibious movement, we have the Navy, and then the Marines get to move. So let's zoom in here with what we got. Oops, sorry, just fix the camera here. So we have our unit here, we have 2 units and a mortar here, 2 units and a mortar here, and then we have another unit just off camera here as well. So first up, we have one from here, and this concentrated fire marker is now removed because it's being activated. So I think let's zoom out a little bit here. We have this new unit coming on here from the Japanese, so we want to make sure that he doesn't get into the zone. So I'm inclined to turn this unit to being a in column. However, there is a fixed sequence here, so let's, for the sake of people watching here, we'll do that. So the first thing we can do is we can move any leaders we like. So for example, this leader could just pop to there. I think I am inclined to possibly do that. No, I think I'll keep him here. This guy I may well move to there. Once we've done that, we can attach support weapons. Now, we haven't got any trace to HQs to do support weapons, and also there aren't any support weapons available to the Marines yet. I think some appear next turn, so we can ignore that. Move and detach support weapons, of course, we forget that. We remove the concentrated fire marker, and then we can decide on column or deployed sides for all the units. So these guys, of course, have to go into column if they're not on. Oh, they actually are ready. As does these guys, because we need to move them off the beach because a lot more troops are going to come in. This guy, again, interesting whether we want to push him forward up to here maybe to try and make sure that we don't get any Japanese coming in. I think I will as well. So it looks like everybody's moving. So hopefully this won't be too painful, because the Japanese may end up firing artillery on these units. And now the thing is, we then at this point we can perform assaults that have been declared, but we need to put a market down. We then have the ability to then put a marker down. So for next turn we will assault. Something to be said for assaulting here, but I think I want to leave later units to do it. So we won't do that. And we're left with any actions the units are going to do, and they're going to be mainly move. So what we're going to do here, move along the road. This is a road. One movement. We're going to move to here. This unit here, and it can't be seen by anything other than the HQ on here, which has artillery units just off here. However, of course they can't fire opportunity fire. So 1, 2 here. Interesting enough whether I should choose to go here. No, I don't think so. I think we'll leave ourselves in the sugar cane. And this unit I will move 1 again. This unit is indirect, so can't fire. 1 and up a slope here. So 1 for the road, up a slope here. That's sugarcane for 2, and the slope doesn't actually cost us anything on movement points for leg units. So 1, 2, 3, and then we can do 4, 5, I think, and that gets us a kind of perimeter here. I quite like that. It's quite difficult with the Japanese to get through the mountains here, I think, to infiltrate before we can get there. And then our other units here, we will move again, I think, around here with that guy. Possibly here for that chap, and then I think we will move this mortar unit to here, and then it can support the units when it's deployed, and a little artillery unit for the battalion there. And the HQ went with this unit. This means that we can get these guys still in command if we need to. Great. Now over here, the first problem we have is this guy to deal with, though we do want to make sure that we don't get any encroachment on this side and build a perimeter. We've left this guy deployed. I think we will move a unit up there. I think we will move the mortar unit. I suspect possibly the best place is maybe here, although it is in the open, but I'm not sure there's a lot that can fire on it. Maybe this guy can call down some fire, but not with the heavy barrage, and hopefully I'll be able to sustain that. And then finally our friend here, which I think we will move 1, 2, and actually I think we will move to there, 3, 4, with the leader. And again we have command here, which is great. And because they moved in from here, there's no opportunity fire, because it's when you leave a hex you get fire in this game, not when you enter a hex. So I think we've done all the movement. So now we get to the second part of the activation, which is now any unit in command can be given a second action by spending a direct command. So this would be either of these 3 units or any of these 3 units. I think there's no point in doing very much here. I mean, we could fire into here, but it's fairly tough. As you saw, even the naval artillery was finding difficulty cracking that, so I'm not sure it's a good use of direct commands. And up here, well, possibly here, we've just got the naval infantry here in foxholes, so it's not that well covered. So yeah, maybe we should do, we should actually spend 2 commands here. Let's reduce the command level. That goes down from 7 to 5, and these units will fire into that hex. So this one will fire. You always do it by hex. So we have a 3, 4. In fact, actually, what I will do is I will save a direct command and just get this unit to do it. I won't fire this unit. So a 3, 4 coming in on small arms, and here we have a -1 for the cane, -1 for the foxholes. So a 4 becomes a 2. So let's roll that dice. Seven, which is no effect. But I think it was worth a try. Start to whittle down that unit. Sure. Okay, so that is the marine activation. Right, let's move on to the next chit. And gosh, we're getting all the American ones out here. We've got direct commands now. Oops. There we go. Right, so with direct commands, we collect our direct commands. It's a dice halved, rounded down, plus for the 4th Marine Division, a command rating of 5. So let's do that roll. Use the green dice, why not? That's a 7, which is halved, down is a 3, plus 5 is an 8. So we move from 6 to 14. Right, now we can use these direct commands to activate any unit on a 1-for-1 basis. Remember, we have our lovely Saipan based artillery as those guys can be activated with a direct command from the 4th Division. So we can certainly do that, and we can do some more work with the companies that are on the ground here. So let's have a look at this. I'll just have a look at the situation. Right, so I think I'll activate that artillery first. What I'll also activate with those 3, I think I might activate the mortars here, so I can flip them round, and then I can use them to fire as well. Also, I'm inclined maybe to occupy these 2 spaces as well, which gives us that perimeter. One thing I have noticed suddenly is that with that support weapon usage, is that these of course are white stripe units. They're not part of the Naval Guard Force, they're part of the Naval Division, so they're higher. So our NGF activity wouldn't have activated them, activation wouldn't have activated them last turn. At the moment they'll only be activated by commands. However, I've just realised that the special rule, which means that the naval units can't move, don't actually apply to these guys because it only applies to NGF units, and these of course are not NGF units. The black striped units are none of these units. Say for example this guy here, that is an NGF unit, but these are not, so these guys can actually move. I may well have moved them last turn, so I think what I might do is not do that move, give them an opportunity to actually move in, because it would be very useful for them to get into this area. So I won't activate that, otherwise that would be too easy now. But I will do the mortars, and I will do the three off-map artillery, and it remains to be seen whether I want to flip some of these guys who've moved and fire them off. So we've got a lot of commands, so I will do those 3 artillery first. Okay, apologies for this. I forgot to turn the camera back on. I think I hit the button, but I don't think it stuck. So I've gone through most of what the Americans are doing. We did do the artillery groupments from Saipan. We went here, here and here. We got a disorganisation level there, and the route check was fine. We got, I believe, a disorganisation level here, and they failed the route check, so they're pinned, and we completely missed here, and the barrage went almost in the sea. Other than that, we did some firing here. We fired here with the small arms fire. Just noted that fortification counters like the Foxholes doesn't give you direct fire cover in the modifiers. So if I look here, we get fortification defense for indirect, but we don't get it for direct fire. So the Foxholes don't count against small fire. So we did that combat, and we did get a hit. We suppressed and added a DG because we got a 0. So the suppressed is great, and added a that medium barrage already existed. We then did a mortar shot here, and actually did hit on a 1. And so they got oh no, we missed, and they got the light barrage. And then we did another mortar shot because we could see through the marsh, and 1 hex of the sugar cane, so we could see here, and we launched a mortar attack over here, and we managed to pin them, and that was it, because we got an R result, and the R result, they failed. Beyond that, we have built foxholes for these 2 units, this unit and this unit, because we did activate them to flip them over, so we might as well get an action for them. So those are the direct commands done, and we're on to the next chit. So apologies for missing that out. It was quite action packed, but not on camera. Right, next chit is the Japanese direct command. Again, can we get this to settle? Yeah, there we go. So that's available, and we do the roll first. So we've got direct commands for the Navy. Here is 8. They're both 8 at the moment. So we roll for the Navy, half the dice roll and add 1. So we get a 9. So that's half round down is 4 plus 1 is 5. So they end up on 13. That's a lot of direct commands. And for the Army, it's half plus 2. That's a 6, which goes to a 3 plus 2 is 5 as well. So they both get to 13. Now, I'm not sure if it was on camera before, but I think it was that we've decided that these guys here with the white stripes aren't part of the NGF, the Naval Guard Force, and therefore they can actually move in the game. They're not fixed in position. by the special rule. I kind of misread it and thought it was all the Navy units, but not these guys. And I was going to move up, but I decided not to make up for the fact that we didn't move them last time. This is when they could move if they wanted to, and it's probably a good idea to try and give something to the for the Americans to fight against. So right, let's look at those guys first. We have 2 units here. One is pinned, so we will activate these 3, which is 3 commands. We can't activate the artillery. It's only on an activation can they do anything. So for this chap, we will just remove the pin, because he can't move with that pin. And he's done. So this chap here, we can switch to move mode. And let's move into here, I think. It's probably good. And here, move into move mode. Now, if we move him, he can be fired at as he leaves that hex, but I think it's worth doing because they can be effectively ignored by the Americans here. Although what you could do is sit there and wait for a better opportunity. However, a better opportunity might not appear. We could end up with an American unit here, and then what are you going to do? Of course, the other thing we could do is we could move along that road, and maybe into here. That might be an idea. We do have Japanese infiltration as well, but I think that only works at night. Yeah, that's correct. It's only for the night time. So we could do it that way, or we could go here. We'll be fired on either way. I think possibly being here is better than trying to get here, because that's a hell of a lot of Americans around you. I don't know. Yeah, no, we'll try and move the guy into here. So there's an opportunity fire trigger here. Can't use the mortars; they're indirect fire. We can just use these guys here. So that's a 4 plus 1 is 5, plus 1 for the defense value of the unit is 6. Sounding a little grim actually. So it's 6, and we're in sugarcane, so that's a 5. I think it's a 5 there, so bit of a not even 50-50, but I think it's worth moving into the zone. It's a 2 on small arms is a DGR star, so it does get disorganized, although that doesn't really stop it doing anything. It is, however, in move mode, so it may route if it fails the route check. So the route is 3, 4 for the sugar cane. I think that's all that is required on the roll. And it's the defense value of the target as well, which is a +1, so that ends up a 3. So let's roll the 3. We roll a 6, so he does route. Routing means that you remove any of the markers that he has, and then we actually put it over here. Well, actually, where my dice box is. Let's put that up there, and he will go to the routed units, and then he can recycle back. But maybe that wasn't a good move. Maybe I should have stuck in this place here, but you know, I think it was worth a try. getting it like this. Yeah, I think that's fine. Do we want to do anything? We have another unit here which is in a cave, which was nice and snug, but maybe this is better. However, that's a clear hex, which I don't really think I want to put a unit into. No, I think we'll leave that there. Right, so other than that, we have any other direct commands. We need to rally quite a lot here. So I think we will certainly remove the pin marker from here for another direct command. We'll remove the suppressed marker here for yet another. And we've got something here as well. We have a pin marker here to remove, and we remove its opportunity fire as well as it's been activated. Yeah. And we don't get to move the hero, unfortunately. No, so anything else we can do here? So these three we will, how about here? We have a suppressed here to remove, that's another. And anything else we can do? I don't believe there is, because the artillery can't fire. I think, oh, hang on. We can activate him to remove the DG, or reduce the DG here, so we'll do that. And there we go. Right, not greatly successful, but yeah, as a direct command. Oh, we still have the army to do, and of course our army chap here is very interesting. Now he is in move mode, but of course he doesn't actually have a bad defense value, so we can move him, say, straight up to here. 1, 2, 3. 4, 1. On these artillery units we don't have any markers. We don't have a marker here either, so we can't really do anything in particular. Interesting enough, now he is actually in command of that HQ, which is good. He could get a direct command on an activation, presumably that we spend the dispatch points, of course. Yeah. Okay, I think that's probably it for the direct commands. Can't really do anything more. So we end up with 12 commands for the army, but they have got a lot of reinforcements to come in, so stocking them up is probably a good idea. So let's go for another chit then. And we have the wind chit. It's upside down, but it's definitely the wind chit. So that means the barrage markers go away. And there's no fires, so there's very little else that occurs on that chit. So we're on to the next chit. We have 2 left. And we have the event chit, the dreaded event chit. And that we do a dice roll for. And we get a 3. Doesn't sound good. Oh, but it is good. It is a napalm strike. So I get 1 US airstrike at no cost, no direct command cost, and it may start a fire as well. So we get an air support unit that's going to attack somewhere. So where shall we attack? Maybe it's a good idea to get one of these big artillery units sorted. Yes, I think over here we will hit this guy with a 6, 5 for the brush, 4 for the foxholes, 5 for the unit defense value. So rolling on a 5 here. Now, if we go, I believe it's a 0, 1 or a 2, we get to start a fire. We got a 5, which I think was the value we needed, wasn't it? Yes, so we got a 5, which is an excellent hit. I will just check on the fire value that we need here. I'm pretty sure it's 0, 1 or 2. Yeah, it's a 0, 1 or 2 with brush, 0 with towns or city buildings. So there's no fire, but that's a 5. That's a 5 on high explosive, which comes out as a 3DGR, which is most welcome. And let's get one of those markers going. So level 3, really, yeah, -3 on its combat value. That's lovely. And the R result, it's a 3. Gets for the route roll 3 plus 1 for the brush is 4. -2 for the it's not level 4, it's level 3. It's 1, so yeah. So it's a 3, goes up to a 4, goes down to a 3, and down to a 2. So yeah, it's on a 2. Holds a 1, it's fine. So yeah, we just get the very big disorganisation going on there. But that's good. That's actually well, one of the 2 good good event rolls actually. The 3 is very nice. Okay, so we've got the last chit, which is of course you've been counting, haven't you? This is the air support, again upside down, which means we might get some other aircraft back. So let's roll to see what we get. The lower the better. We get a 2, which I suspect is 1 aircraft or possibly 2. We've got the chart just here. That's actually 2 aircraft. Great, just 2 aircraft. So we've got another 2 aircraft coming in. We need to spend a direct command for each one, as it says, but we do have those. Not many. That takes us actually down to 1. So used a lot of direct commands this turn. But this air support is very useful, and I think we will still continue our campaign against these artillery units. So I think 1 here, and I think 1 here. That just leaves us with this chap up here. Yes, so these 2 here, we'll do this one first. That's 6, -1 for the brush, 5. Oh, actually, the foxholes don't count, do they? 6 goes down 5, and then +1 is 6 again. So we're actually on the 6 chart for the, and we get a 1. Now this isn't napalm, so it doesn't start a fire. And on a 1, on a high explosive, it's a white, which we can make it a yellow. It's a DGR star. So we will put these guys on level 3. They were on level 2. And we will roll for the route. Let's see, it's a 5, so let's have a look. It's a 3, a 3, that makes it a 4, that makes it a 3, that makes it a 2, so yes, it fails, so it's back pinned, which is fine. It's not going to be firing anytime soon. And down here, on this one here, over here, we have a 6, of course, -1 for the sugarcane, 5, and up by 1 for 6. So another roll on a 6. You get a 3, which is a hit. A 3 gives us a 2DGR. So we roll for the route, give it a couple of disorganized levels, and roll for the route. And we'll see see if it needs to be calculated. Rolled a 2, which is almost certainly fine. Yeah, that will be fine. Yeah, we've got a 3. Let's get down here. We've got a 3. Goes to a 4. Goes to a 3. Goes to a 2. So yes, just. So just a level 2 there. But hey, that's not bad. I'll take that quite happily. And we just have one chit left. Let's have a look at it. Oh no, that was the last chit, air support. Yeah, so we have all the chits done. So really all we need to do now is just put the turn marker onto 11 o'clock, where there's considerable reinforcements for both sides coming in. I think that's quite a successful turn actually. We haven't had any casualties. We've prevented the artillery, the direct fire guns from interfering with our landing, which is great. And yeah, we've got rid of a few units, and we've got somewhat of a perimeter, although it's a bit loose here. So we'll roll on 11 o'clock, which I think will get a lot more stiff opposition from now on with the reinforcements. But anyway, thanks for watching the video, and I'll see you at 11 o'clock on the 24th of July. Thanks for watching.